Well, the mayor of Richmond trying to change the image of his city. Instead of just thinking of crime or blight, the mayor wants to get the word out about the many positive aspects of the city and what it has going on for the residents there. So joining us to talk more about this campaign is Richmond Mayor Tom Butt. And Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about the campaign, how it got started, and what you're trying to achieve in your this is your first year as mayor.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, you know, there's been talk about doing this for a long time in Richmond, but it's always gotten bogged down in politics. So I decided this time to cut to the chase, run it out of the mayor's office, do it with contributions from business and residents rather than trying to do it out of the city treasury. And we're well on our way to do that. And the ultimate objective is that I think the image of Richmond, the perception of Richmond Bay Area wide, lags far behind the reality. So we want to get that reality out there, and we want to find a strategy for sharing it with the Bay Area.
One of the biggest changes that has taken place in Richmond is the fact that more and more of the citizens of Richmond are finding jobs. The unemployment rate has dipped down to some 6% in February of this year, when maybe 10 years ago it was 3 times that.
That's correct. Well, you know, like the rest of the Bay Area, Richmond's unemployment rate has plummeted. A lot of new businesses have come into town. There have been over 6,000 jobs created there in the last 3 or 4 years. And, you know, that's good news.
And that tells you that that businesses are willing to invest in Richmond.
That's absolutely true. And, you know, one of the phenomenons that I see is businesses come to Richmond because they come there to get a bargain. It's still, you know, Richmond has the most affordable homes in the Bay Area, and it also has opportunities for low rents. But businesses come there for low rent, and then they love it, and they expand, and they stay, and they bring others. So.
One of the other interesting aspects of the turnaround in Richmond has to do with crime, specifically homicide. The homicide rate has dropped some 40% compared to some 10, 12 years ago.
Well, crime has plummeted. Last year it was the lowest it's been in actually since anybody's been keeping records. And a lot of the credit goes to our police chief, Chris Magnus, who's gotten nationwide recognition for a lot of the initiatives he's taken to reduce crimes, and particularly violent crimes.
One thing that is a blessing and I guess a little bit of a curse in Richmond is the Chevron refinery. It supplies a lot of jobs, but yet a lot of people think back to that explosion that took place several years ago, and the toxic fume that was over the city for days, where people were complaining and jamming hospitals. How is it working with that Goliath in the community?
Well, like everything, there's a flip side. When we awarded Chevron a permit for their new modernization project, we got a $90 million community benefits agreement along with us, and the biggest part of that is a $35 million what we call a promise program that the city will run that will guarantee that every graduate of high school in Richmond will have a full college scholarship.
That's fantastic.
So we're really looking forward to implementing that.
So it really is a give and take there.
There's two sides to it. There's a good side and a bad side.
Well, there's also a controversy in Richmond about this billboard that we want to put up on the screen, where it's sponsored by the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and there you see it on the screen there. And some people have written in, sending emails to the city saying, you know, here we are trying to improve the culture in Richmond, but yet we have billboards such as this one about buying guns for someone else and getting 10 years in jail and things like that.
Well, I think they put it, actually, it's not just Richmond, it's in Oakland and some other places, and it's on the radio. But I did a poll, and I found out that on my email newsletter, and I found out that by about a 3-to-1 margin, people were offended by it. Some other people thought, look, anything that's going to reduce crime, you know, why not do it? Right. But I think most people were offended by it. They thought there might be more subtle ways of doing a campaign like that.
Speaking of the campaign, one of the things that you're trying to do with this changeover campaign is rework the city logo possibly, and we want to take a look at the city logo because it's been up for many years, and there you see on the left this very much outdated smokestack belching black smoke into the air. Don't think that's the message you want to send, is it?
Well, the smokestack was from 100 years ago.
100 years ago.
That's the message they wanted to send 100
Back
years
then.
ago. Today, it's the one on the right, and
Yeah.
nobody knows where it came from or what it means. Some people think it's a bird, others think it's a sail.
Right.
But I think we want a new logo that associates with what Richmond is today and with some of its many attractions.
You're a longtime resident of Richmond. You've been on the city council for 20 years. This is your first year as mayor. What changes have you seen in the past 2 decades?
Well, I think the biggest change I've seen is that Richmond has become much safer. It's become much cleaner, and it's really reached its potential as a waterfront city. You know, Richmond has more shoreline than any city on San Francisco Bay, 32 miles. It has more miles of Bay Trail completed than any city on San Francisco Bay. We just celebrated the 15th anniversary of the Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historical Park, which is on the bay in Richmond. And Richmond is the selected home of the new UC Berkeley Global Campus. So it's a waterfront city. It has over 3,000 acres of waterfront parks. So there's a lot to see and do in Richmond, and we just want to get that word out.
Yeah. Well, this is the start of the campaign. Best of luck on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Stay tuned.
All right. Richmond Mayor Tom Butt, thank you.
All right.
We'll be right back.